allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I am Mike Bond, supervisor. We got Greg Simpson is not here. He has a family matter he has to deal with. Come through it. All right, the first order of business is public comment. Now we have public comment, and then we also have public hearing. So the first one is public comment. The public hearing will be later in the program. Okay. Do we have
Public
by
comment.
the way, hold on before I forget. Matt Jankowski is the town attorney. Deputy Supervisor John Perry. Lynn Daly is town clerk. And Jeremy Shifley is the public information officer. That rounds up the table here. Okay, I make a motion to open public comment number one. Do we have a discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Diane? Okay. We have a list?
Yeah.
Just try to
Angela? Angela, go ahead.
Angela Downey, Minnesota, report in West Hurley. This is a situation that has been ongoing for so time, years, and now it's actually a number of us have great concern over series and the development and the lack of transparency. Given that we're dealing with someone, a developer who has never had a stellar reputation, in terms of being a slumlord in Brooklyn, and we're hearing him here, and I just would hope that the town board will do due diligence in making sure that there is oversight at every step of the way in terms of remediation of asbestos, whatever needs to be done, because we know for a fact that back in Brooklyn, he was doing everything on the cheap, and people, the tenants were suffering yearly because of it. I can't imagine that Herr Denver is going to change his ways when he is here full time. Building his condos. He's going to make a lot of money, and he's going to take a powder, in my humble opinion. And I just would like to see the board address this in a very concrete way before it's too late. Thank you for your time.
On behalf of Reverend Bill Appleyard Peckett. Reverend Bill,
From Hurley Reform.
Hurley Reformed Church. Since moving to Hurley roughly 8 years ago and becoming a part of the community, I have been bugging Mike S. about a concern for the town. We have several, there'll be eventually concern. Many years ago, Main Street was sidewalked with bluestone squares, except for the sidewalk in front of the parsonage manse at 17 Main, on the agreement that the town would maintain it. The focus of my concern regarding this sidewalk is the troubling nature of its condition. The concrete is pitted and deteriorating and altogether unsafe. Considering the amount of foot traffic from people walking to Stewart's, the library, the rail trail, its condition is worrying. Luckily, no one has been hurt yet. However, we all know that all it takes is one misstep or broken ankle. For 8 years, I have bothered the town, and now I ask the board to consider finishing the bluestone sidewalk and repairing it, making it safe for our whole community. I recognize while this doesn't affect all of Hurley, and that the issue is for those who walk on the sidewalk. However, a lawsuit from someone who is injured would affect all residents and their tax dollars. I ask the board to move in support of this repair so that Main Street sidewalk can be a safe space to walk on both sides of the bridge. Blessings, Reverend Bill out the yard package.
All right. And anybody else wish to speak? Everybody here wish to speak? I make a motion to close public comment number one. All, to section, all in favor? Okay. All right, the approval of minutes on May 26, 2026. Has the board read it? I have not yet read it.
Oh,
Okay, good. All right, so we're gonna table it till next time, right?
sure.
Okay, supervisors minutes, oh, I'm sorry, comments here. First of all, the Hurley Heritage Community Center, we signed the contract with Mullins Construction. They're gonna start rehabbing the building in 2 weeks. They're now going through all the plans and everything, and they are coming, well, the plan's already made. Now they're contracting out subcontractors more or less, and, well, let's see, if it's gonna come up, very shortly. And it's the end date to be somewhere around Thanksgiving to Christmas time. Going through that. The beneficiaries of this building are gonna be twofold. The ground floor is gonna be a welcome center, community center, and this basically is gonna be, where we're gonna have, we have like 10 committees that meet at town hall. They will now meet over there. All right, it's the first thing. Other things will be there, the library will have events there that they would format somewhere else. They will have it here more or less. The community itself, anybody living in Hurley that wishes to utilize this building, they do so at any time. The second floor is going to house the town historian and also the recreation commission. Will be up there also to get that going there. So, we're looking forward to this thing going. The people living around the area, you have to excuse us for the, noise construction, but it's getting done. The building sat for 13 years vacant and, from past administration, it was, we're gonna do this, we're doing it. I want to thank the committee. I want to especially thank Tim Kelly, who was the chairperson of the committee when he was a town hall, when he was on town board member. And I want to thank him for it. And I want to thank also the other committee members also for doing the talking there. And I appreciate everything they've done. Thank you. So also, we have a Lower Silvis Creek Advisory Committee grant, and the grant is for actually to purify water in the Silvis Creek, do some purification. So we submitted an application to the VCAT committee, and what it entails with is we're going to put a riparian buffer around the area, and also put a kayak and canoe launch with it going through there. And we have 3 sites we're looking at right now. 2 sites are on the farm hub, which one site we've gotten permission from the farmer to use that. The other side is a much better site for it, and we are going to be asking the farmer to go on the other side. The third site is at the head of the rail trail, right at the Silvis Creek, where it crosses there, because back in 2017, 2018, there was a program called Blue Waves that involved John Perry. It involved the town of Ulster, city of Kingston, and Ulster County, putting a kayak and canoe launch down there, which I like because the parking is there. You have the parking they're going through, and it's such a nice way it's going through it. And the program was going well until COVID hit. And once COVID hit, 4 years later, the program vanished. So we're going to try to get that program back going well. That's go from there. The other thing is, though, that myself, Jeffrey Mann, and Angela Gaudioso, we met with the county on the Hudson Valley Water Company. And we exhibited our frustration, not necessarily with the Hudson Valley Water Company, with Ulster County, because the onus was being put on us, town of Hurley, where they have much more power than we have. And they're not doing what they should be doing, in my opinion. So we had a meeting with the deputy executive of Ulster County, and he has now informed the grants committee, the 2 grants writers there, to work with us to write grants to get this thing done. I think, Angela, I believe the meeting was kind of fruitful. Hopefully.
I just think it was a fruitful meeting. I think that they're hearing us now. Of course, we have to see what happens.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding, but at least it was a productive meeting.
Yeah.
And we did sort of, setting it up. So thank you.
Well, I just want to say something that we have complained to the Public Service Commission for 14 years, 15 years already. And to be honest with you, they don't do anything. All right. What they do is they do not protect, I feel they do not protect the citizens. They protect more the corporations coming through here. And so like, our next step is to bypassing them and going straight to the county, then going to the state to have this thing being done. This is a problem that's been festering for years and years. And unless something gets done, it's going to fester for more years. And you can't let it do that. The highway garage. Mike, you want to talk about the highway garage a little bit?
You know more than I do, but,
The thing is though, that we are meeting with John Bruce and Cody Messier from Delaware Engineering. They have submitted bids already. They said have bids. They have 30% of the plan already made with the budget coming through by the end of the month, over 60%. And by middle of July, we should have the whole thing done, ready for the bond to be issued, more or less. And hopefully, talking to Delaware Engineering, if everything goes to plan sometime in the fall, they'll shovel in the ground. So that's kind of exciting news here. And I was talking to Griff, those who are familiar, Griff works with the Sheriff's Department, and Griff has suggested that we put one of the offices at the new garage will be a satellite office for the Sheriff's Department, which I think is such a great idea, first of all, because it's air protection, for one thing. Second of all, it's in charge of rent. I think the second condition is better than the first condition. And Griff has agreed with us with that coming through, but thank you, Griff. And this is Griff's idea. I think
it also may open up some, funding opportunities with shared services that we haven't really looked into yet, so a few other.
Right. And by the way, we don't have a definitive amount of money yet on the bond yet. What we're seeing basically is that talking to Mike Schultz, much of the prep site will be done by the highway department, and that will look at the costs for the bond and all that's coming through. Now, one thing is the bank reconciliation at the controls meeting there. It was suggested, more like strongly suggested, that there will be members of the town board that will help the bank reconciliation. That would fix the checkbook, look at the checkbook and reconcile that. I do that on it. I'd like to have one of the members of the board to be also on it.
So the actual suggestion, I sent an email, you trying to see, but the actual suggestion or what they're saying we should be doing is you do a review monthly, with the report, you sign off on that, and then the board takes a look at it. Or, various different things by asking questions. But there's a whole section I sent you that they got the slides on what the report should look like. And then things included like, checks, outstanding checks, deposits in transit, for example, should be on there. And that's how we do the right record.
So what I'd like to have someone on the board, besides myself, review it and make a report to the board. I don't want Debbie doing it. Only reason why is because you do everything else.
No, I can do it. That's why I went to the training. I'm really invested in the financials.
Let's have, I'd like another member, including you.
Okay.
Diana? Okay, so Diana, myself, and Debbie, well, I'll do the first ones. You
Right,
guys
that
will do it.
Oh, it's very interesting. Yeah, it really was good. Yeah, I look at I actually go to a lot too. I made a list of suggestions from different things that I found out of it that we should take a look at, and about policies, procedures, different reports.
I would recommend you go into archives and you'll see how it was done in the past. All the bank statements, all of the transactions, everything was in a 1 year 3-ring binder, usually about 4 inches thick.
Okay.
And then every month that just sits in
I
the
have it.
supervisor's
I
office.
have it.
You go in and you have the ability to review that at any point in time. It was always open for review.
I have a book in my office with all our records for the entire year.
Well, we have a
just
book in
like that.
your office.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, all the
It should be
bank-
readily available to
Yes.
anybody in the public, but you guys especially.
Okay. Also, I want to turn this over next to Wendy. This is on the, this basically is the finances more or less coming through. So you want to talk about, the procedures here?
Sure. So it was a request from the audience or from a taxpayer that we, and which rightfully so, I just hadn't got around to it, that we do an abstract of claims every meeting. So for tonight, the abstract is number 11 that you guys are reviewing the vouchers. It's dated today's date. The total vouchers we're paying tonight are $93,533.77. Out of that, the A fund, which is the general fund, $35,003.39. The D fund, which is the highway fund, $3,859.39. The EFC grant, which is a reversible grant that we're working with for the closed landfill, that's $615.15. But that is money that the town does not pay out. That is reimbursed within a couple weeks. And we do not make the payment until it is reimbursed and shows up on our bank account. The capital fund, $52,667.69. And that is for capital projects 7H and 14H. And if I remember correctly, 7H is the highway garage and 14H is stormwater. Yeah, stormwater, that's what I thought. And then the payroll related fees for our payroll software, ADP, $1,388.15. You're welcome. So I'll be, playing a little bit with this, but I'm going to try to do it every meeting, or at least have it ready available.
I do want to say something about the work that Wendy does. She is like, you call him a penny pincher. I think you're even worse than that. She looks at every single thing, no matter how much money it is, and she tells me this has to change, this has to go, and you're saving a lot of money for the town. And I really appreciate that you're looking it over, not only as the bookkeeper, but as a resident of the town of Hurley. And I really appreciate what you're doing and the efforts you put in them.
The other sheet that you guys have in front of you is the town of Hurley budget reconciliation. If you remember correctly, we talked a lot about this last year. We were going to try and do this monthly. Well, life happened and we didn't get a chance. So it's now June, and I went through the budget versus actual, which you guys have in front of you as well, and determine what lines are overspent right now. It's not a big deal. There's only, honestly, 6. And so just a quick go through it, 1320 is a fund line that we use for independent auditing and accounting. The original budget was 15,000. The total current expenses are 27,534.90. The difference of 12,534.90. The reason for that is the accounting expenses were increased after the budget was completed. We received a notice from our accountant with a very large increase. I believe it was $30 per hour.
$30 an hour. Extra.
Yes, so that was
In other words,
incredibly.
in other words, prior to that, it was $320 an hour.
Yes.
Now it's $350 now.
So that was
We're in the wrong business.
a huge surprise. I'm in my own business. So a future solution is, in order to maintain accuracy and stay within the budget, the town will complete an RFP, which I believe is up for tonight, for a different accounting vendor, as we try to have me, the town bookkeeper, complete more work and alleviate the cost that we have to reach out to an outside agency. Number 2, these are not being passed tonight, but I'm just going to quick go over them. Budget line 1330.4 is the tax collector line. There was an original budget of 500. And then total current expenses are 710. The difference is 210. The reason for that was the contractual expense for the software associated with the tax collector work was put into a different fund line. So we will, it was put into 1410.4, which is also a town clerk line. So we'll just make a transfer once you guys review that and accept it. The 1620.4 is the building maintenance. I break it down into different categories. So like 0.2, 0.3, so that we know what is transfer station, what is highway, what is general. The budget is 160,000. The current total expenses are 205,708.39 with a difference of 45,708.39. However, the reason for that is in the accounting world, we have, in order to completely sufficiently do our annual financial report, we have to put everything into a regular fund line. Even if it's capital, even if it's reimbursable, that's the way that has to show up on the annual report. So within that building maintenance line, there are significant costs to do with the 2 demos that we had to do, which John noticed when he was reviewing things for me. So, and maintenance and construction supplies went up. The other thing is we had a water break at the town. We've been reimbursed that insurance money, but the insurance money shows up as a revenue, doesn't show up as an expense. So we are not really over $45,000. By the end of the year, we probably will be, but, right now, we're okay. But you guys need to look at that and we'll need to transfer some money as well. The reason, I just explained it, future solution, try to eliminate unnecessary spending, which is what I'm doing. Number 4, 1910, which is unallocated insurance. John and I discussed this. We originally got a budget number of 77,467. This is for our auto liability owners and contractors extra insurance. When the actual bill came in January, it was 78,724.36. So obviously that line needs to be repaired. It's a difference of 1,257.36. We did the right thing. We reached out to the vendor. The vendor gave us what they assumed would be the change. And then, of course, like anything else, it increased. So there's not much you can do other than take your original bill, maybe add 10% to it, speak to your insurance company and try your best, I guess, when you did. The budget line for 5142.4, snow removal, the original budget was 100,000. The total current expense is currently 103,683.15. Difference 3,683.15. I'm gonna guess, I am not the highway superintendent, but I'm gonna guess the reason was unexpected use of excessive materials due to winter conditions. And there really isn't a future solution. Mike works really hard on his budget and he does reach out to vendors. He gives us estimates. However, not everything that the departments want goes through the budget. So therefore, we are over right now, 3,683.15, and we still have a couple months to go.
That budget line is for, salt,
Yeah.
the winter, and plus the fuel.
Right, yep.
Fuel comes out of that.
John, I
and,
went over it,
I
yeah.
had it over about 66.
Okay, well, maybe we'll
So
discuss
we'll have
and,
to-
yep, we'll have to look and see
And
where,
we still have November, December to go. Our
Correct.
salt shed is empty. So
okay.
I was gonna talk to the board, debate with them on whether we want to pay the 15% premium to buy now,
Yes, I remember you brought that up.
or wait until August when the bids come out. We don't know what the bids are gonna be.
Okay. And then the final one is the budget line for 7110.42, which is the rail trail. Anyone who has been paying attention, there's a little bit of a problem with something called benches. We try not to say that word. However, there wasn't a budget for that line. The total cost of the benches were $1,968.75. There is a difference. However, those benches the money for the benches came from a donation. Again, that has to be put into a revenue line. We didn't have a fund line, so I had to take it out of somewhere. There is no future solution because hopefully we won't go through that again. Other than that, you guys have everything you need. You have the vouchers, everything's broken down. If anybody has any questions, let me know. It was a very busy month with vouchers, as you can tell, because it's 4 pages. And then you guys have the budget versus actual as well. Debbie, I am listening to you. I separated out what is capital, what is EFC. Great idea, great suggestion. I am doing that so that you guys can kind of tell what is actually left in the budget line because we haven't made transfers for capital yet. So look through it. Let me know if you have any questions. This is always a work in progress. Yep,
Since we have 37% of our budget left.
correct.
That doesn't, that also allocates, so that also assumes the funding is going to the capital fund.
Yep, yeah, there's a little note in the bottom. The total expense number reflects the total expenses minus any capital and grant reimbursement. I take that out.
We have 37% of budget left.
Yes, but again, remember,
We have a transfer.
but the transfer doesn't matter. Remember, we found there's expenses that are in those budget lines that we didn't necessarily budget for, the 2 demos.
No, I understood.
So the revenue that John budgeted for is going to be higher than he expected. So in the end, it should, offset each other. However,
So-
yeah,
Do we have a sense, or do we have some calculation on if the 37% is going to cover what we're forecasting to spend for the rest of the year?
well, you have a budget director that I think has had 5 seconds to even look at, forecasting. I don't know how he's gonna handle it, but I can do anything to help him to come up with some sort of forecast. But it's in John's hands because he is the budget director. Sorry, John. You said you were finishing out this year. I'm just hoping to finish it out.
Finishing what out?
To answer your question bluntly, no.
I can. I used to-
You can have my buildings. No. Some items.
That's true.
true.
Yes. Yes,
The workman's comp.
yes.
1% left for half the year. Like, how
Which one? Give me a number.
Uh,
Oh, 90/40.8. Yeah, no, that's insurance. So we already paid the workers' comp. We will not have another bill for the rest of the year. Yep, yeah, So-
Okay, so I think I got you, so that's okay.
yeah. Sorry, John, I didn't make copies. Stephanie did. She left you out. I'm sorry.
Now you know why I haven't had 5 minutes to see it.
Well, where- oh,
I need to get it. I need to get it.
I mean, great.
So yeah, to answer your question, Diane, that's already taken care of. So the 1%, guess what? You got a bonus. You got 1% left in that line.
So you got 38%.
Yeah, you got 38%.
Okay. Any other discussion with, okay. We're up to, Recreation Department.
Hmm.
Skip it.
We skipped,
No, we didn't skip any. No, we're not here.
Oh, I do have one small announcement, but an hour later.
Let John go, then you come to that. So.
I can put up the clerk's report if you want to do it.
So the only, update I have is the request for, to go to RFP for the, next advanced upgrades for the town park. We still have approximately $50,000 that we have to allocate and spend before, we actually get penalized and we have to give that money back to the county. So I presented this, resolution for RFP. Now I have not done the scope of work other than the fact that we have some fence repairs and build the dugouts. For the rec board is confident that we can do that with the 50,000 and, hopefully we use it all. And then we can, move forward with that. Other than that, the only other problem is the seed. I mean, we put it down and literally we went into drought. We've had 1 day of rain since I put that down. Mike's been busting his butt, Pat's been busting his butt. I've been up a couple times moving around the sprinkler heads and such. But, it's built on rock and the little bit of moisture that it gets, it doesn't attain. So hope for rain for the next, 4 or 5 days and maybe that.
There is.
Like 9 days of rain coming.
Every week we get rain and then all of a sudden nothing.
Then it dries up.
So that, I might have to come back to you all for more seed, if that's the case.
The land that you have, is that just exclusively for the park? Like, would it include, like, if you said the rail trail was included?
It could.
Now, I'm not sure about that because
It's a park grant, and we
And what
definitely
about
don't.
like Ribbon Park?
the valid point.
Because I have a suggestion.
I mean, there was allocated, items that were for use. So like the signage, the kitchen, the fields themselves. So we had to go back to that language and just make sure that that language would be adequate to.
The thing is though, that, right at this point, we have spent, over $60,000 on the park itself. Right at this thing. From the grant itself, we've got it, $42,000 kept us. There's still 38,000 left in that too. And then we have, 50,000 that we put aside more or less. So, and we have, and the deadline to submit everything is August 1st. So we are in the process right now of, doing it. We just submitted our third disbursement for $67,000. Sent to the county more or less, and,
They hold about 15%, so we're gonna be looking at maybe 40 coming back, so we have to utilize
Yes.
those monies.
and the thing is, though, it's also really good that part of our match, our 50% match is in-kind service, and Mike Schultz's side department has been doing in-kind service, helping out with this, and so I appreciate that, Michael, I appreciate your our department for chipping in. You want to get paid? The answer is no.
So, I mean, there might be some smaller items that potentially, I think the board and or Mike could actually make a decision, because we're getting down to that 12th hour. If it's, for example, the refrigerator is not sealing right now. If the refrigerator is broken, I say we go and we buy a refrigerator and utilize that for the grant. Things of that nature, I think, we should really be looking to.
It is.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you want to look at like a landscaper coming in and putting some tag landscape, I mean, in 2018 and 19, it was beautiful.
Yes, correct.
And it's gone
It is.
down since then.
So if that's somewhere we can.
I'll
that
let
funds
Mike, if you
for,
would
that would be
mind,
awesome.
reviewing the language again, and if it's not in there, maybe requesting.
Okay.
They've been very, very good to us as far as like,
Is it-
allowing us to.
Is it a park? Is it a
Park.
park?
Yeah, no, it is, it's designated a park, designated, and our rail trail is a linear park.
Well, not only that, though, we have, besides the fact, the money we allocated for the park itself, we have extra money coming in. We had that $23,000 that came in from,
Yeah.
Right.
We're gonna hold on to that. So
it's
just,
in the, it's in the-
yeah,
it's in
so
the
just
fund.
remember, we don't wanna like deplete the fund, because if there's another grant that I can go after and I need a 50%, or I need to pay it up front before I get the money back. So we don't wanna deplete. You know, so we have to have some monies in there so that we can allocate for those purposes. So I would request that we don't use all, I mean, it'd be nice to keep like 100 grand in there. So thereabouts.
Kitchen could use some upgrades.
Yeah.
All right, any discussion? Further
So I can
discussion?
donate us a new kitchen.
Okay, all right, Lynn?
I can bring it up if you want.
Oh, sure. You want to give me a report? I mean, it's
Right there.
not the full report, but here's a cash report for the month.
Copy of it?
No.
It's
we'll
on the
have
website if anybody
we'll have
needs to
copies
look
for you
at
The
it.
next meeting, and,
On the clerk's page.
I received an email about a program called Rebuilding Together. And I brought a tear sheet here. And they've been working in the Hudson Valley in Dutchess and Ulster County since '92. And they're soliciting people to apply for funding for next year. The information, is down here. You can call them up, go online, and hopefully, this will help some people out in our town. The grant has to be in they're accepting applications through September 30th.
So, I'm sorry, what is it exactly? What kind of work? Yeah.
No cost home repair for qualified homeowners. Things like the stairs or the siding, or, there's a whole list of things that they would look at. And,
Do me a favor, Lynn?
Mhm.
Give that to the general post on the website.
I will, yeah, we'll have that. And, they have a handyman repair program, they have a rebuilding day program. So we'll have some information on the website, and hopefully we'll have a few places where these will be in the community, maybe have a bulletin board here, but at the library. So people can take advantage of that.
Just get that to me tomorrow
Okay,
morning.
before we go into presentations, anything, nothing you speak, welcome to the board. Good, anything you want to say? Diana? Ready? Okay, all right, next is the presentations, and the first one is Climate Smart, point of Malta extension at Ulster County.
Sure.
So if you have to get your feet, I just keep showing up every year. I'm Anna Herringer from Cornell Cooperative Extension. And I'm very excited to work with the Climate Smart Task Force this year towards a climate vulnerability assessment. And I'm looking for your input and the board as well. We're going to start off, we're working with a team of educators in both Ulster, Dutchess, and Columbia and Green counties to work with 5 municipalities as well as the county to review all the vulnerabilities as localized as we can to complete this vulnerability assessment. It's going to include a couple steps. The first step will be completing the Climate Smart Resilience Planning Tool, which currently is actually already completed, but it does need to be updated every 5 years in order to submit for points for climate smart communities. And that's essentially a giant Excel spreadsheet of all of the plans that you've got, any areas of strength or weakness in regard to how those plans relate to how resilient you already are or could be towards the effects of climate change. So we're going to update that spreadsheet. We'll be looking to meet, hopefully, we get a whole one long meeting with supervisor, highway, fire, any other relevant, anybody who has input on town plans, policies of that nature. We're going to update that spreadsheet, provide a summary report for strengths and weaknesses, and then that will lead us toward the end of the summer towards the climate vulnerability workshop that we'll be hosting. And we're looking for input from stakeholders in the community that have really extensive background knowledge in the community. So we can really hone in on what are early vulnerabilities specifically. We have a lot of maps, we have a lot of data that we can look to, but we're looking to enhance that as much as possible. Are there any really small pockets of highly vulnerable populations, say communities, like a trailer community that doesn't have air conditioning in the event of a spray? Maybe it's 3 on the end of that edge road. Trying to identify and get things as localized as possible so we can really provide a full assessment. So we'll be doing that in the workshop towards the end of the summer, early September. I'm working with Kristen to identify stakeholders to invite to that. And we'll host that with the other communities participating in Ulster County. The Department of Environment will be speaking and doing an overview of a lot of the maps that they provide to the public, but aren't necessarily utilized as heavily as they should be. That's where we can come in and try to provide that assistance so the town doesn't have to dig through all of that material. We'll be making use of the resource inventory that was recently completed. And then by the end of the year, we'll have a full assessment to provide to the town. Those two steps, completing that planning tool, completing the vulnerability assessment, it would then lead hopefully to next year to doing a full climate adaptation plan.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, Michael, before I forget, anything you want to say about the highway department?
Yeah.
With meetings over the last week with the, Kingston Police Department and, Myers School. To the flyer that we have to post out, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows on June 24th, Main Street's going to be shut right down from, Hurley Ave. You'll be able to do that in Hurley Ave, not Millbrook now, to, Lucas Avenue that way, but Main Street will be shut down, schoolhouse will be shut down. And, we should have the other end by Stewart's, they're going to Stewart from the post office. But that's going to be shut down from 9:15 until 12. What they're doing is they're having a unification drill. They're gonna, at 9:15, they're taking all the kids, marching out of Myers School down Main Street to the church. And then the parents, will have to come there and they have a whole system set up. They come up there for playing the child. So,
I'll post it tomorrow and we'll put up a reminder as it gets closer.
just need to make sure everybody realizes that it's gonna close some issue for some people. And it's for the kids, so. During that conversation, that's when the questions came up about the sidewalk. And I know that in 2021, Don and I and Rich Ruth, the engineer, and the principal, and also County DPW all met. We have a place to fix that sidewalk at the time. That was about 125,000. And that will proceed forward with the next administration. If we can actually do something, probably at the same time that we do upgrade that, maybe we can do a sidewalk wall. A couple of ones that have already been implemented. One to fall and one so I'll give you. That's what I got for that. Then for the Joyce Lane, we moved back into Joyce Lane last week. We went really good, but I think we only have about 80 to 100 feet of pipe left in the catch basin. We had also kind of DPW out there today because their pipe connects to our system there, and everything looks good. So we should finish that up once we do that. Then we'll be fixing all the yards all the way back on the east side of the road. And once that's completed, we're going to pave it. I'm hearing a lot of rumors that, oh, they're not going to pave the road up. We're paving the road, and there's going to be 2 speed humps in the road. The road's going to be paved from one to the other. It's in the budget. It's in the 284 agreement. It's going to get done. So I think everybody has to understand that that's going to get done.
I'm talking to myself.
The neighbors are pretty happy while we're working there, so we shut the road down.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll do that. It's working well. Between last year closing it down this year, we're trying to re-educate people to go up to the stop sign and make a right instead of zooming through that small neighborhood where people walk the dogs and their grandkids and their kids. So, we'll hope that once we're not there, it'll make a difference for that neighborhood. We're still fixing some potholes here and there. We've still got some plow damage. We haven't had a lot of compensatory time from the overtime this year, which helps our budget, by the way. But, we take those days off, so, every day I'm usually short at least one guy. But we're getting things done, so, looking good. And, season's going good, they're saying June. That's all I have right now.
And to add on to Mike, those resolutions were passed. So if we go back and you into archives, you'll see that we have, we did the engineering for not only the sidewalk, but we did crosswalks. Everything was approved for the safety purposes to get the kids down to the nursery. So that was done with the county, Mike, myself, the school district, and venereal areas. So those resolutions exist. So you might not have to go too far back in order to maybe make that happen.
This is the sidewalk, right?
Yeah, those were done.
I understand that there may be some movement to a couple of things that Grant made.
Well, what it is right now, we are exploring a heritage designation on Main Street. And when you do a heritage designation on Main Street, there are grants that follow with it. And so we are looking at it right now, and we have contacted both the state, the federal, and when they seem to not know what's going on. So we're researching further. We're going into the nursery parks, which controls heritage designations, and see what's going on. We've seen, in the past, I've seen grants given, and one of the grants given was Boost on Sidewalks. So we are gonna try that.
And, one other thing I think everybody knows that during the parade, there was a metal plate on Main Street right on the corner of Schoolhouse. The county had a failing catch basin there. They have to replace the pipe, they cut the pavement. They're gonna be working down there too, but I gotta coordinate with them to make sure they're not down there on or around the port. For the evacuation drill. And then once they complete that, they put a new pipe and catch basin in. And we got another plate back, this is our department put a plate down. Make sure everybody's safe at the parade. And, as you know, the governor did sign the new budget. CHIPS got 50 million extra for 932 pounds. I think our share was around 16,000. So we got a little bump.
Sunset Terrace.
Hmm?
Sunset Terrace.
We got a bunch of stuff on.
Yeah, and one thing also, I want to introduce, the front row is Eric Stewart here. He is the legislator for Hurley and for Marbletown. Also very instrumental in dealing with the VPW, Brendan Masterson, talking about Xanto Road. You, myself, and the safety committee are working real hard. We finally got a commitment from Brendan Masterson that they accepted bids. They're now going to pick a bid, give it to the state, give it to the county legislature for funding, more or less. And they said, and we're going to hold them to it, that sometime in the fall they're going to put a paving the cemetery side, the north side of Xanto, for walking, for bicycling, more or less getting that done.
We're getting that ditch filled.
We're getting the ditch filled in, yeah. All right, and then the next project is the other side, the south side, where we're gonna have to move the drainage. All right,
Well, they want to put the drainage down the north side, correct, the cemetery side.
they do.
And when I look at the plans 6-foot culvert. 6 foot.
Is that true?
See, we did our culvert on Orchard Lane about, I don't know, 6 years ago. We put a 3-foot culvert in there, and I don't think it's ever gone past just under half full. And 6-foot culvert, I don't know where the engineering firm got the figures from, but she's just seems like a humongous
A lot of water comes up this.
size culvert for where it needs to be. I was trying to orient on two of it, I so really.
We can't address that particular
Right.
issue, but like, the whole thing has just been like.
Believe me, I know.
But we are at least making progress, and as Mike said, by fall. I think we'll go actually.
And you know those yellow pads that you had to pay for? One of them's half gone.
Those, the ramp pads.
Come from our friendly truck, 18-wheeler truck, that careened off the road and
Ugh.
the whole thing, took it down with us. We have the name of the truck, and Val, we're gonna be talking to their insurance company
Okay.
about fixing that and all that.
So this is the sensory pad you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ramp pad in the corner right by, your place.
I have the pieces that are missing in my car.
You can't see, you can't see it because it's obscured by all the campaign signs in front of your house.
Maybe we go to the workshop meeting with Brendan, and then just to review the plan, just to make sure we're not all filling and then one to eat.
Sure, I would be happy to set that up and also with, get.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Simon Smart. What's that?
You knew you went down here without it to do, right?
That's what he's here.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing is Basin Road, 28 intersection, Nelson Downey.
Mel, the image is up there.
1105 Basin Road.
Yeah, we still want to do that.
I'm good, man. Sorry.
There you go.
Now,
It's also up on the screen.
My name is Nelson. I live on Stone Road with my wife, in West Hurley. Me and hundreds of other residents who live along Route 28A, this intersection, is absolutely necessary for us. It's the only, practically the only reasonable way to get out into the world.
Now, pull the microphone down a bit.
Yeah.
We'll get taller.
yeah.
Right. Okay, how is it?
That's good. You're fine.
As I was saying, myself and others who live on Route 28A depend upon this intersection as our only way to reasonably go anywhere west to Hannaford, to Woodstock, anywhere west. And it's problematic in several ways. You can see that for the folks making a right onto 28th and Basin Road, we're going like this. For the folks making a left from Xena Road, are going like this. And every time the light changes, there's like a quandary. Who is going to go into the right lane? Who is going to go into the left lane? There's always a little bit of a dilemma. But mostly it works out. But right now, there's a proposal out there for a gas station, an additional gas station and convenience store that would be right in here. And that will create many additional traffic problems.
Right.
But actually two very problematic aspects of this development of this gas station and convenience store. I'll get back to the traffic, but the other aspect is the congestion and lack of access. I live on Basin Road, and it's a small, not very wide country road, about 10 feet wide, with no shoulders at all. And if anyone has a flat tire or a traffic problem, or if there's an accident, Basin Road shuts down almost entirely. 1 week, twice, I was intending to go somewhere west, and someone had a flat tire on Basin Road, and the police had to come, cars were lined up, and finally the police made everyone turn around. No one could get through. And then a few days later, I thought I was to the same journey, and the same thing happened. So you can see that Basin Road it doesn't support much in the way of traffic. Now, the problem is the construction. This gas station requires demolition of an existing brick building, requires construction of underground gas tanks for the gas station. For that to actually happen, we would have bulldozers, some construction vehicles, but there's no place for them to be. There would be incredible problems with access, problems with congestion. So that's an aspect of why this project for the gas station convenience store is problematic. And the other, as we started to talk about, is the traffic problem. You can see that, okay, you're making a right on Basin Road, you're making a left from Xena Road, but all of a sudden, you also have vehicles coming out of this gas station that are actually existing. So you have 3 cars aiming very often at that same right lane. In addition, on 28th, actually, you have hills on both sides. We will have cars coming down. If they're coming to a yellow light, very often people coming to a yellow light tend to accelerate. Let me see if I can get. So then you have a fourth vehicle possibly accelerating, landing, going to the exact same right lane. So actually, that was the main problem that I saw. But when I was speaking with my bombs, we saw a few other problems. One that you mentioned to me that I hadn't seen is I had seen the problem with the car coming out. Mike mentioned that there's also a problem if people want to come and get into the gas station, because they would have to slow down and there's traffic. So that's an additional problem. And I mentioned another very interesting and very problematic, and I wonder, Mike, if you want to come up and show that other situation you was telling me about, with the curve of Basin Roads.
Yeah, I just wanted to know that this is not a Hurley problem. This is Woodstock.
I will talk about
Yeah,
that.
that's Woodstock. What it was basically is, and, what happened basically is the original plan was to have an ingress here and egress here. Woodstock rejected that. They didn't want that ingress and egress on 28. So the other aspect, what they planned in was to an ingress here, coming this way and coming this way on the rear, which is not a problem. But then you have an ingress on Basin Road and egress on 28. The only problem is trucks. Because we have in front of it is 11-foot, that's about a 4-foot bridge here, and big trucks can't go that way. So if you want to fill this up here, more or less, they have to come this way, down like this, come around here.
Oh, yeah.
See problems coming back here. Because of,
They have to change that, obviously.
be taken
So
down
the more
about
trucks.
5 years, and then when they finish, we'll have the trucks in, then replace them. Right. But the thing is, though, is what happened because of what they felt was very dangerous, they did not allow this project to go
So
through.
listen,
And the owners are now suing Article 78 for Woodstock.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little about the history of this project. So even though it's kind of land in the heart of West Hurley, technically it's part of the town of Woodstock. The Ulster County map makers had somehow put it into the very teeny tiny corner of Woodstock. So it had become a problem for the Woodstock Planning Board. The Woodstock Planning Board dealt with it for 2 years. Finally, they voted unanimously to turn the project down. But what has happened is the developer filed a petition, Article 78, with the state Supreme Court trying to overthrow the Woodstock.
Overturn.
Right.
Actually, a very similar thing happened with Dunkin' Donuts, where I think it was the Burlington Board unanimously voted against it. The developer went filed Article 78, and they won. And therefore, despite the local town rejecting it, Dunkin' Donuts exists. So we're afraid the same thing would happen. 2 years ago, the town of Hurley was recognized by the town of Woodstock as recognized formally as an adjacent town that had an interest in whether or not this project happens. So right now, in Article 78, I've been speaking to John Lyman, who is the Woodstock attorney handling the Article 78 case. And he has told me that probably right now, the only thing that could dissuade the court and the judges would be if an adjacent town also passed a resolution against this project. So what I am asking the town of Hurley board to do is to create and vote for a resolution opposing the project. The town of Woodstock attorney, who's an excellent attorney, suggested this was the one piece of information that the court would welcome getting one way or the other. And about 2 years ago, I had written a letter to H31 and titled, and did you pass that out? And so we passed that letter out to you. And, the title of that letter is, Who Will Save West Hurley? And at the end of that letter, I've come to the conclusion that it will be the town of Hurley Board of Directors that will save West Hurley from this terrible, terrible gas station store. Thank you. So I'm asking you to pass the resolution. The other piece of the puzzle is time is important. Because right now it's in the Article 78, and we don't know exactly when the court and the judge will make their decision. So if we're gonna have this resolution, we certainly want it before, the court and the judge makes another decision. Thank you very much.
I want to just say after that, I spoke to, Melissa Gray, who was the planning board secretary for Woodstock, and it's in court right now. And I said to her, if you need any kind of, thing from us, just let me know and we'll get that thing done, so. So you
Yeah,
guys,
and the lawyer in charge has let me know.
so if you speak to, John Lyons, have the contact, Matt Jankowski, our town attorney, to work out some sort of arrangement.
Oh, sure.
Okay?
Yes.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike, so everybody's also aware that intersection is gonna get more clogged up because they're gonna do a culvert replacement.
Yeah. Course 28.
And then once they finish that, they're paving it. So it's gonna be a
Such fun.
I don't have to look at this project.
It's already been out to bid. Oh, the railroad bridge, I didn't start on, right? That's supposed to.
Oh, of course. Okay, all right, I make a motion right now to open public hearing on the adoption of local law number 2 of 2026, a local law amending chapter 210, so town of Hurley code. Before I do this, before I, go ahead.
I'll second it.
Second, discussion. I just want to thank a few people on this thing. I want to thank, first of all, Paul Thomas and Tracy Keller, who initiated this whole thing, Matt Jankowski, who then compiled everything, Greg Tetro for,
Tremendous amount of work.
right.
Tremendous.
So, I want to thank all those people there. The idea of this whole local law here is to just simplify everything. We have a very, very complex, outdated, zoning laws and so forth, and we just want to simplify everything. Also, the Housing Advisory Committee, Sherry Pettis on here, also contributed to this, resolution or this local law more or less. Do we have, we have a motion?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. You guys want to speak? For the public hearing? It's open.
Okay. Oh, we've had a sign-up sheet.
If there's,
There is a sign-up sheet.
Yes, good evening Supervisor Bonds, members of the board. My name is Tim Kelly. I live at 119 Griffin Drive here in Hurley. I support portions of this proposed law that clearly prohibit grid scale battery energy storage systems here in Hurley. The most important provisions are the townwide ban on BESS over 80 kilowatt hours and the table of use regulations showing that a battery energy storage system serving the public electric utility grid is not permitted in any zoning district. I would ask the board to keep that language strong, but tighten a few points before adoption. First, the site plan exemption should be clarified so that it applies only to a small on-site system under an 80 kilowatt hour cap. Second, the law should include anti-circumvention language so that a grid-serving battery project cannot be relabeled as a public utility structure, as is being done in neighboring Ulster right now, solar accessory component, warehouse, or other use. Third, because the solar definition includes energy storage devices, the law should make clear that any battery storage connected to solar remains subject to the best limits and prohibition. Finally, the fallback provisions for any project approved by a superseding authority. Now, right now, there is no superseding authority on battery energy storage, and that bill has basically gone on the floor up at the Senate. It hasn't moved since early 2025, so. Well, it hasn't moved in a while. I thought it was 20. All right, so, anyway, it's important, but you need to make that language more precise, okay? adjacent to agricultural districts should have a defined distance. The energy density provision should be clarified, because right now the energy density formula that's in there, if you do the math, it allows for massive uses on really little sites. This needs to be reworked or straightened. An LA County technical study that was just done a few short weeks ago actually allows for, their regulation is for 25 megawatts per acre. Your formula that's in there, that's buried in that law, would allow for 544 megawatts an acre. Okay, so that's formula, that's tucked into that language. You need to, gotta shut this down. The formula, as written, yeah, it's crazy, so that needs to be taken care of. And then the fire department review should also be required for outdoor battery systems, which is not in the law. This law is moving in the right direction, but the board should close the loopholes now, rather than leave residents to fight over the interpretations later, or with a superseding authority, if and when that becomes a reality.
You're gonna send those to us. Send those suggested tests? Yeah.
Can I have that?
Thank you.
What, you want?
Yeah, I want that.
Send an email, please.
Hey, Julian?
Excuse me.
Good evening, Jillian Freed, 128 Green Street, in Hurley. I'm just gonna feedback on some of the areas that seem to be covered. We have a little bit of overlap, but first I want to thank this board for taking the issue seriously and for drafting a law that appears intended to protect Hurley residents and preserve the character of our community. After reviewing the proposed language, I respectfully ask the board to consider the following revisions to further strengthen the law and reduce future loopholes and unintended interpretation. The first, clarifying superseding authority language. The law currently references situations where superseding authority such as ORES, Office of Renewable Energy Siting and Transition, may approve of best otherwise prohibited in town. And while I understand the intent of the established fallback protections, this language could unintentionally imply that a town already concedes override authority exists. Furthermore, the proposed legislation, which Tim touched on, which would expand the siting authority for standalone battery storage. When I say standalone, it's not co-located with solar or wind. Under ORED has not passed and remained in committee since early February 2026. So at this time, no such authority has been granted. And I really think it has been because people have been calling and emailing, and ORED is under hot water right now. If anyone follows what's going on right now, it is being investigated. Which is really good. These decisions should remove no goals. Strengthen the definition of prohibited utility scale battery. So the law currently prohibits battery energy storage systems that serve the needs of the public electrical utility grid. The intent of this language may unintentionally create a loophole for a merchant battery storage developer to argue that they do not technically serve the public utility grid, but instead they participate in a wholesale electric market through NYSERDA. So right now, NYSERDA has a new bulk energy storage program that they created in 2025. I believe it's called the ISE, it's the Index Service Credit. So I think what the goal of this was to encourage developers to go into this model where they create a contract and they agree on a strike price. So let's say, for example, a developer came and they want $100 per kilowatt hour, and then the market was low that day, so it was $70. Well, NYSERDA would give them that difference a third, and then if it was $150, well, then the developers would owe NYSERDA kind of like a little bit of a slush fund for NYSERDA. All that makes sense to me. But more so, this protects, I think, these developers who go through this avenue of participating in arbitrage, right? And buying low, selling high. And it also protects the price for the ratepayers. Developers don't have to go through that pathway. They can go the other pathway. That's where they enter into the whole sale market. And a lot of why we see a lot of this arbitrage that happens kind of in California, Texas, is because they don't have those models. They just go right into the wholesale market. So New York is trying to get ahead of them and say, hey, we want to regulate a little bit better. So that's the point. So developers can participate, they can apply to go, they have to agree on a price, and just because they apply, it doesn't mean they'll get accepted. So I'm kind of following what Terrigen and some of those is doing right now. And so far, I know that they've applied. I don't know if that will be accepted, the agreement's been executed, but something to do that. So developers don't have to go. They could just go right to the wholesale market because the risk is higher, but the rewards are even better. So, that's, I think in the event that you're gonna add fallback, you should put some minimum setbacks, right? I don't know, 100 feet, 1,000 feet, something to consider. Tim touched on those. I think you should put something there about the price standards, right, for people living really close. I don't know that the town of probably, we have a noise ordinance that caps it at a decibel level. We may want to consider.
Say 60 decibel now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It has 60 decibels. At what?
It's constant, like that's loud. I mean, you heard only once, that's loud.
wow.
That's continuous, that doesn't cycle on and off, right? That's loud. And battery storages, remember, they're not 60. And that was a smaller one, but if it's a big facility, it's gonna be louder than that. Just something to consider. Can touch on the energy density language. I think maybe it needs to be tightened. That formula can have, definitely create some ambiguity. So maybe you should consider replacing it with a clear maximum energy capacity limit, or just a straightforward prohibition on utility scale or standalone merchant bus facilities. Right? When I talk about a merchant bus facility, that's the facility that is just buying and selling from the market. It's not distributed back to the community. Which for those who want to know, the proposed facility for the town of Ulster, that facility is going to be connected right into the 345 transmission lines, right? So those are transmission lines that carry bulk energy, right? And unless they have something set up, I don't know the technical term, a transmission tap, if someone knows exactly what I'm talking about, please correct me. The energy is not just going to go backwards into the distribution lines. That is not us. So I don't know, something. Maybe strengthening the emergency response requirements. So it acknowledges emergency response costs, but maybe talk about developer funded emergency response training, drills, hazmat preparedness, fire department equipment, safety reviews, mutual aid. And lastly, I did touch on the public utility uses. We know that's an issue. That's an issue that I have identified with the town of Ulster right now. Because if these are merchant battery storages, the public, as we know, goes to 345 power lines. It is not for the community. The town of Ulster, that power will be siphoned down. So in the event of a blackout, which everyone thinks these are to help blackouts, well, only if that power could be reverted back to the local distribution lines. So it's not for us. It will not help the blackouts. So people need to know that. Feel free to look that up. It's true. So I did look into the E-code, the zoning for Hurley. Doesn't seem that public utility or public utility use, electric utility, however you would define it, the term is not defined, which as we know, when terms aren't defined, that creates ambiguity, right? So that is something that you may want to go and get a definition for that. Because a battery energy storage facility is not public utility. Not the same thing. I have some articles for you here that you can look at. They're both from New York State municipalities. From Newbury, New York, they upheld the decision to not allow battery storage to be defined as a public utility. And in Mount Kisco as well, they upheld it not to be a utility. I have foiled both of those towns. I am waiting on their formal determinations to help you. So really, you know, that chart at the end on page 3 of 3 is under the public utility categories. that does not belong there, not a public utility. State is certainly in the category that reflects what that type of facility is. So I'll give you all of this. Thank you very much.
Wow, it's really hard to follow up with Jillian. I want to thank Jillian for the amazing amount of work that she has done on this topic. And I just forward, by what a font of information she is. I also want to thank Tim for his activism on this topic as well. And I want to, thank the town board, for the moratorium that we put in place and now it's town law. So, thanks to everyone. I have been a vocal opponent of the proposed best facility, at Coleman High School since this is like my attention up here. Yeah. Unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but New York, is a home rule state. Therefore, decisions on these topics really rest with the municipalities and their planning. So the legislature, which I am a part of, by the way, I didn't really introduce myself, but that was done earlier. The legislature doesn't really have purview over these issues. But what I have been able to do in the legislature is, first of all, we took a field trip to Orange County in the spring, with Supervisor Bonds and Councilwoman Doherty and Jillian, and also Sarah Cassidy, who's an assemblywoman from the city of Kingston. And we toured the facility there in Warwick. And then I presented a memorializing letter to the legislature last fall. And in that letter, we got a bipartisan sign on by 5 members of the Democratic Caucus and 5 members of the Republican. In addition to that, most recently, I have a letter to Ushida, Western County Industrial Development Agency. And I spoke out to them, opposing the idea of them providing taxes to this facility. So we'll see how that goes. I won't really go into all of the huge details of the problems with this particular facility. This would be the largest best facility of its kind in the state. It dwarfs anything that is going to be considered anywhere else in the county, or that currently is being built elsewhere in the state. It is 30 feet from the nearest residence. 22. It's extremely close to residences. It is extremely close to 500 private homes. It's close to 2 of the largest apartment complexes in Ulster County. There are significant safety and environmental concerns that we've all heard a lot about. And an industrial type facility of this scale would forever alter the affairs of that neighborhood. And I would be opposed to this if they were talking about putting a warehouse, much less a best facility with that could catch fire and burn for days. That could be used through Surface Creek, the streams that run directly into the creek, with the major adjoining this facility. As Jillian mentioned, noise is a huge concern. And like I said, its proximity to all of these homes is extremely problematic. Parajet, the company who is building this facility, describes the location as remote.
To them,
There are 500 homes and 2 of the largest apartment complexes in the county is not remote. I wanted to sorry, I lost my train of thought. What's going on there. I wanted to point out that I'm not necessarily opposed to all guest facilities. But, you know, the ones that the county is considering putting up a much smaller guest facility at the new government operations center that is going to be built in New Paltz. It's currently in construction in New Paltz. But they have really good plans. And the scale of that facility is a mere fraction of what is being considered for Coleman High School. The nearest housing to the proposed facility in New Paltz is 900 feet. Like I said, that's a huge difference between 900 feet.
900 feet is very much.
So, you know, I'm hoping that the town of Ulster will see fit to say no to this project. Another issue is the company itself. Terrigen is owned by Alcazar Energy, which is a multi-billion-dollar stakeholder in the United Arab Emirates.
Alcazar is the old Heritage.
Oh, my apologies, but that was reversed. Yeah, you know, just the fact that it's based in the United Arab Emirates is a huge red flag. In my mind. So, like I say, I'm hoping, and the company, you know, that is working on the one that really involves, it's very open and transparent, which is something that cannot be said for a dealt with. So, yeah, so like I say, I just hope that the town of Ulster, you know, does the right thing in this situation. On a different note, I also wanted to thank Supervisor Barnes and the town board and Kristen Shara for their work on applying for that letter of interest for funding from the Hudson River Foundation for flood mitigation and creek access here in Huntley. So, yay. So thank you.
Let me just add on a little bit to what Aaron was saying here. There is a bill that's on the back burner and the legislature, it's called an express law. And what it meant to do is to shorten seeker and to also shorten the process of passing legislation for public utilities, like the best storage and all that. And I know that that a letter of intent was sent out to all the supervisors and mayors in Ulster County, and most of them signed on to it. I did not sign on to it. I would have signed on to it, except when it said that shorten the process of best plants coming in there. They didn't specify that, and I don't trust them. So we're fighting there.
There's real pressure from the state promoting.
Oh, it's a huge pressure. I mean, what they're saying basically is that they want to shorten the seeker, which could be, but they want to shorten other processes and this same thing. Yes. Okay.
Public and local law.
So public comment.
All right. Anybody else?
No one else has signed up, but
Public hearing.
for the
Anybody
public
want-
hearing,
Anybody for the public hearing? Local law number 2. Anybody else?
I was interested in speaking, but I didn't get a chance to look over I didn't get a chance to look over all the stuff that is in the law.
And
so-
it's gonna be
It's gonna be open.
open for at
Yeah.
least another.
Perfect.
All right. Anything else?
You have to have another hearing if you change it.
We will have to renotice with the new modification.
All right. No one else?
do you want to mention anything? Talking about changes, situation came up in the office today about getting permits for gatherings, and the one that we have on the books is only for something over 5,000
Yeah, we'll do
people.
that. Yeah, we got that.
Public
So
comment.
Yeah, we got that.
it might be something to consider in the zoning amendments addition.
So, okay, so that is related to changes, so consider taking a, permitting requirements for that.
Okay. Anybody else? Greg? Well, I was just gonna say that while Lynn is correct, it's not actually part of the zoning. It's a different,
Okay.
part of the town code.
Yeah, buildings.
So we're-
All right, anybody else wish to speak?
Okay.
I make a motion to keep public hearing open. All right, and second, any discussion? All right, so the public hearing will be open. I'm sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
During that period, you will be accepting written comments
Right.
as well. So.
So hold on, we have Tim's comments, we have also Julian's comments. Eric, if you just want to like jot down some of your comments also, send it to us. Okay. All right.
All right.
All right, now we get to resolutions. The first resolution is approve the RFP for the attic asbestos removal of town hall. All right, what it is basically is that we have, sent out a resolution about 3 months ago to remove the asbestos from the town, more or less. And the question was that we got three, bids back, that ranged $50,000 to $150,000. And the question they all asked is like, what is the scope of the work? And we didn't have that. So we requested from Quest. You know, they're a monitoring firm, and what they did, they applied to the state for variance, and a scope. So now we have actually added the variance and the scope to the resolution here. I'm sorry, to the RFP to have this work get done. The work has to be done prior to winter, obviously, because that's when the problem started. You know, so we want to get this done as soon as quickly as possible, going through this thing. So this RFP is going to be issued. So I make a
Just right, a couple things. So since you do actually now have a scope for this, it should be a request for bids.
Yes.
As opposed to a request for proposals.
bunch of bids.
And what I would say is just, was sent to me this afternoon. And there are multiple changes that I'm looking at. So it's basically, I would just change the language that, the town board hereby authorizes the issuance of a request for bids, subject to approval by the town attorney. Yeah, they just add at the end, a request for bids for asbestos abatement and attic cleanup services, subject to drafting and approval by the town attorney. That way I'll just modify it. It's not like basically you don't need a resolution for this. It's good that they're actually doing it and bringing it out. You will need a resolution when you guys actually accept one of the bids and within the contract.
So we already did the pass this resolution.
No, but I would just say we have it here. Let's make a record of it. I would just modify it in those two ways. So the resolution name will be modified to resolution to approve request for bids. Now therefore be it resolved. Oh, no. The second or third whereas clause, change that to solicit bids from qualified contractors. And the therefore clause, again, changing it to issuance of a request for bids. And be it further resolved, distribute the RFB. And next, be it further resolved, the responses to the RFB. Okay.
Wherever it says RFP.
Yeah.
RFP.
I'll need a new copy from Samara to post the actual RFB.
They're looking for a bid based on the scope that was provided with the variance, and the state basically gave an outline of everything that needs to be included. So it should be more appropriately request for bid.
Yeah, you can pass this.
Yeah.
As amended. All right, I make a motion to accept the resolution as amended. Seconded by Griff. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
That's the game. You're up next. That was just extra. I was just giving. All right, so the next one is, this something that John, you submitted. This is a request to approve the issuance request for proposal for park improvements at Dog Hill Park. You want to discuss this bit?
So currently, I did a little bit earlier for the recreation in reference to the monies that need to be expended in order to not have to give it back to the county for the grants. So in this RFP, I would go out and I would get a scope of work that needs to be done, and then we can request the bids, and then hopefully we can have those bids done in the 2-week period or so.
This is a bid, have a proposal now.
This is for proposal, because I have to come up with a scope of work.
Okay.
As of right now, Mr. Schultz acknowledged that they fixed one repair.
Yes.
So I can remove that now, because this scope actually from this proposal, but for the purposes of this, there are other fence repairs, so I did not go into detail. I will when I put the scope of work into place. But for this tonight, this is just a proposal for me to go forward and do so.
John, as soon as you have it written,
Okay,
just send it to me to post the RFP. When you have the actual
We make the
RFP.
motion.
I'll make the motion. I'll
It's
second.
independent.
Okay.
John, yeah, go ahead.
No, you need one.
Okay, good, so that's, we have room for that
We absolutely have, and I ran all the electric, so we're ready to go when we eventually look for other grants and other monies to come forward. I got, scoreboards and lights are in the future.
At night.
Yeah, I just want to say something with, John Perry and so forth, working with Delaware Engineering for master plan part. You guys have saw that, I sent that out to you, look at that, that's really interesting, what it's going through here. And we will get help from Delaware Engineering to implement that master plan coming through.
As of right now, it's a draft. Once, I did get feedback from y'all that there really wasn't that much that you thought you needed to go back in there. I mean, it's always a work in process, the master plan. So we can adjust as need be, but, I will go back and I will have that into an actual complete form so that y'all can vote on it and we can move forward so that I can then go out and get more grants and, work off of that master plan. The other thing is I do want to implement, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Like Mike said earlier, I would like to get the rail trail, designated as a linear park, and also establish a master plan for that so I can go and work on these work together at the same time.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, and
I mean, the question I ask you, if you incorporate the rail trail, the linear park under the recreation program, does that fall under the recreation committee then?
it could.
Subcommittee.
We'll have to review
Where you're going with
the
this.
resolution, creating the rail trail committee as well as.
It could be a subcommittee. Okay. All right, so we have
I would have to see how we do that. I have never heard of it designated, but I think that's something maybe the town as a whole local law can do.
Yeah, but I've had it reflecting with the legal.
Right.
Yeah, future.
The green trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can contact the city and see what their language looks like.
Okay.
And have to do a call.
Okay, so guess we can do, we have 3 people there right now, so you have a resolution, you have a motion,
Yeah, there's no amendments, right?
there's no amendments to this.
Not on this.
No, this,
Oh, okay,
I just scribbled.
okay.
Okay, all right,
She
We have a
seconded
motion
it.
and a second.
We-
Well, yes, 3 of us there. Okay, when Diana comes back.
Who seconded the motion?
I just want to give kudos also to, John Kerry. This is, what you get paid for doing this thing is like unbelievable. I really appreciate that.
I get about $60 a month to pay my dental insurance.
Well, this month,
Not this.
not this month, not this month, you owe us.
I do, you're right. Made up for it today. No, I put a lot of time that I don't have to clock out. Which I love it. So it's.
All right.
it's my-
You ready, Diana?
All right.
Okay, we're ready to vote.
All in
We're not
favor?
gonna tell you what it is, but we're ready to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, approved RFP for the accounting service. All right, basically, this is the resolution to approve request proposals for professional accounting services and authorization. I make the motion.
I'll second.
Seconded by Diana. Discussion.
Edith.
Many of you guys in the audience here want to make a lot of money. Become a Accountant.
It's already on the mind. It's
I
already on
mean,
the mind.
Tax
you know,
season
the
will kill
increase
you.
of $30. All right, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, now this is the next resolution here. This is the approve the $1,000 donation to Hurley Heritage
Our
Society.
donation of the all-purpose grant.
Okay, approve $1,000 to all-purpose grant.
Public purpose, all purpose.
Where's the- yeah,
I'll second.
Yeah, public purpose, I'm sorry, public purpose.
All right, resolution to authorize. You want a second?
No, leave it as it is.
All right, resolution to authorizing a public purpose grant to the Hurley Heritage Society, made for $1,000.
I second.
You want to have a discussion on this?
Yeah, well, it's either to, 2024, they did not get,
If you have the, all the expense back again.
we all have the insurance. They did not get that second 2024 resolution. They only got $1,000. We made two resolutions in 2024, they only got one. They got the first one we did April, they got the one in July.
All right, now, every resolution that they have submitted to us always goes back to January 23rd, 2006 original resolution. And what it says basically is, maintenance, it says it be resolved to donate $1,000 to the Heritage Society to assist in the upkeep of the Ribbon Park at the town hall. That was the resolution 2006. And every resolution that, every other thing has come back, always references this resolution. They don't do Ribbon Park anymore.
So
So
I want to make a
that's why
couple comments. I want to make a couple comments. So I don't want anything I say to be interpreted as I don't agree with this. I'm just bringing up some information. So exactly what Mike said is everything that was referenced was in relation to that meeting. So and there's numerous reasons, and we know the reasons why that's not happening, but that's why these originally were done. I think that we have to think about if we're gonna make donations to nonprofits, that we should think about a policy, because we also have the gazebo, right? That was the Lions Club. You know, there's one, right? Lions Club, there was another one, went out of my head. But the point is, if we're gonna make a donation to a nonprofit, we should make sure we have a policy that says why, you know, how, why are we doing that?
So what is it?
So, like, here's another example, like, we're looking at climate, like, the climate and emergency, but we're gonna have emergency management plan. You know that we need places to have shelter, right? So one of the things came up was the churches, so like a church in Old Hurley, a church in West Hurley, the town hall, right? But if we're gonna do that, then we should consider then also, that would be a means to potentially do a donation to a nonprofit. So all I'm saying is, I just think it needs a little discussion, a little bit of thinking on how we do this, because it'll have impact with give money to other nonprofits.
If they're just approving these, any funds that you're giving,
Yep.
you have to identify a public purpose for what it's
Yeah,
gonna be.
right. Oh, yeah, I
So-
thought this was the details about it. Did they come to you, Mike?
They came to speak to me about this. Basically, they submitted a couple of letters requesting it, and I gave that to Lynn. All right. Two letters from the Hurley Heritage Society.
Outlined, in the
Yes.
public service that they provide.
I'd like to
And
see
that's
it.
what
You mean what they-
outlined in-
What they bought.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to go through the resolution?
But at the same
No,
time,
no,
if
no,
Deb
no,
wants
no.
additional time, you know, this is again an organizational meeting or
Agenda meeting.
agenda meeting. So unless it's absolutely necessary, we can, you know, go to the regular meeting or actually taken.
It's great thing that we about 2024, because we did approve them for $1,000 donation.
You can type it. You see that resolution?
Yes.
Right?
They go into law.
What do you do?
Your packet.
Yeah, it's
As
And then July stuff.
Kind of already-
review
Right.
financial records to see
Me?
whether there were any.
I have not been a part of it, no. No, they left me out
Things
of it.
on April 18, 2024, Kendall Hurley Heritage Society,
Right.
50th anniversary.
Yeah.
That's one.
And they voted July.
July 23, 2024. I'm not seeing it. Oh, here it is, right. Hurley Heritage Society, annual 1,000 in compliance with resolution 2. Yeah, but this is in compliance with.
But it was approved. They made the resolution, the two $1,000
No, you didn't.
is the point in 2024.
So I think
April and
the
again
first
in
thing that should be
July.
checked is the financial records to see if
They
vouchers
only got
are
one.
bubble, but we need to check the town's
Yeah.
records to confirm
Right.
that the town only
Yes.
issued.
Now, I remember before this other plan,
Just confirm it.
we brought up before that they did not get the two. And now
Doesn't
you
have
actually
to
have
do
to
it.
deal with the resolution. There should have been two $1,000 payments.
So for clarification, and I will take some of this responsibility, in 2018, the Hurley Heritage came to me and said that they could no longer maintain the park. They're aging, volunteers are limited. So that's when I started acknowledging I need a letter every year for a town board approval for $1,000. So that's what they did every August, September, they presented. We then voted on it then for the budget purposes. But I will take some of the responsibility for this. But Matt is 100% correct.
And it comes out of,
It always came out of historians.
historians.
Contractual.
But again, every resolution from July 23, 2024, also July 26, 2022, always references 2006-54, which says Ribbon Hall.
Right, but he's telling me that he.
So that's why I then moved
2018,
to request, they had to request a letter request a letter for the $1,000.
So I think the first step with regard to 2024 is to see if the voucher is reflect whether long to or no.
So there it is.
Not saying I was right.
Okay, I'll check this out.
Yeah, no, it's.
I'll check it out.
Time to review.
Right, again, I didn't say I don't support.
No, I'm not
I'm
saying,
saying that there should be,
I'm
we
not
should
saying
think
that.
about it and have a policy in place, because when others come to us, then
I think that that's.
perhaps we have to. Right.
We have given others?
Get to the library.
That's
We
like
give the
taxes.
When we give to the fire.
Get the
Fire
fire department.
departments also, we do give them, so you see.
And they are, the grants, but they're also their own budget lines. So for example, now, if we're gonna be moving forward with this, it would be a budget line.
Right,
for
but
this.
that's what I'm saying, like, we do, I have no problem having the policy, but we do give others.
And I have no, and I think that it's, only correct to ask them for financials to show where those monies went, and potentially, so we're not allocating. And listen, I have nothing against anything that hurts, but we do have to cover
A lot
our
of
quarters.
quick ones.
So.
Okay, so
And now that we have that clarification, we won't reference that 2006.
Oh, right,
And it's all
right.
good.
Everyone that records 2006. Okay, so we'll check on that and we'll pay for,
Well, then we need to-
So withdraw the motion.
you made a motion, right? I made a motion.
You made it.
I make a motion to withdraw my motion. Motion the motion. Against it.
You table.
The table.
Well, let's just get it all figured out with the 2024 also. We can do it all at once.
Okay. All right. Next thing is, next page. Authorized supervisor. Well, this we're gonna do in executive session.
Well, you're not gonna do that. You
No,
can come
we-
back to that.
we're gonna come
if you
back to
guys
that.
Wanna have discussion.
The only other thing I'm sorry to get back to, we do have a copy of the resolution, but we should have a copy of a resolution that actually voted on, if approved.
What is that?
You're referring to the April, the extra 1,000 we gave? There should be, this is not adequate. We should have a resolution that is voted on and approved.
Okay. Now we have the dates and the details.
Okay, all right. The next,
So I know we definitely.
I don't.
We definitely gave it. I thought it was over more.
okay, all right. I guess next we're going to, discussion.
Oh,
Yeah, two topics. The,
Real property.
real property.
Real Property Section 471, spouses of fallen police officers. This came from, Clinton Santarelli, our town, our town assessor. And basically what it is. All right, it says here, this year, a resident inquired about the real property tax law 471, and it's now adopted as a local level. All right, basically what it is, real property tax law section 471 authorizes the governing body of a county, city, town, village, or school district to partially exempt up to 50% of the assessed value of real property owned by the surviving spouse of a police officer killed in the line of duty. The exemption does not apply to special assessments and eligible city, village, town, school district, or county may enact after a public hearing or a local law or resolution in the case of school districts to adopt the real property tax exemption for surviving spouses of police officers killed in the line of duty. So this is, again, this is a discussion coming through here. I'd like to hear your opinion on this.
It's nice. I wonder why it's just police officers. About
Violence.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's,
We
have it.
We have exemptions.
I think we have some firefighters. We have some firefighters.
But not
And
the,
actually,
not the spouses of.
Well, we gave a temp, I know, we gave a
I'm
temp.
pretty sure the spouses of under the statute get it as well.
So the thing is, again, this is, I'm not just, it's just, I just want to make clarification. So if there was, let's say, someone died, in 9/11 and they moved here now and it's a spouse, they didn't die, they're not a county or local, law enforcement officer. Would they qualify for this? This now becoming their primary residence? That's the only things I'm not quite clear on. I would assume so. I'm just not, I don't want to assume that.
And you have to be from New York.
I don't know. I mean, it's a New York law that we're trying to adopt.
Oh, well, maybe.
You know, well,
I believe the state is looking at it. So once it goes to the state, we would all be part of that,
Right.
In the language of the state. But I think there are some local municipalities that are looking to do it because it never could happen in the state. It could just sit there forever. So
Yeah,
I just
eligibility criteria.
bringing that to the attention of.
Yeah, what's your,
It doesn't say.
All right, I'll look into this thing. I'll take some Brittany a little more about this thing and bring it back to us next.
I mean, if we want to add local, I don't know how you want to address that. Not that I'm opposing it. That's,
This is 50%.
This is for someone died in line of duty. This is it. Yeah, I don't think we have to line of duty.
Some of them.
I know we don't have it. I think it's just like a 10%. Yeah.
10% discount for
Right, we don't have any.
Dies by fire. They would have to die in the line of duty or does it matter?
I don't think that, I haven't, that's another.
Yeah, what's our
Killed in the line of duty.
How many properties are we talking about?
It's surviving spouses that were killed in the line of
Well,
duty.
let's put it this way. I know of one.
I know of one, yes. But like he said, they move in, we have no idea.
If you did clarify, let me speak to Brittany and have her clarify exactly, a little bit better research it and see exactly, and bring up John's point.
Right, and what if they remarry, you know, they split them, it's just like, we gotta find out what's in it.
You really go to close everything.
I know, I'm just saying,
That's good,
it's,
it's good.
it's, you know.
It's good. Okay.
Only because now probably they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's not like it used to be worth, you know, $10,000.
we, skip the MOF?
We said
On purpose?
we said we were going.
Oh,
Yeah, they want to discuss it further.
Okay. Okay, I missed. Totally missed it.
Yeah, we can bring that back if there
No
are.
problem. I apologize.
All right, so. The next thing here is, the cannabis event in Hurley.
Excuse me.
That one is,
No, that wasn't a reaction to that.
I'd say, I think somewhere along the line here, the state wants to get the townspeople really high. More or less. Because
Just a little in college, I swear.
This is basically, this comes from Kathy Hochul, and it says the following things. On March 20th, 2025, Governor Kathy Hochul signed a legislation law permitting cannabis showcase events, which allow licensed adult use dispensaries to partner with licensed cultivators and processors to showcase and sell adult use cannabis products at locations away from their licensed dispensary premises at pop-up events, farmers market, and public markets. So,
Taylor Hurley, very well.
I thought about it. If I could get you guys to approve it, I'd do it.
well, here's what
you
it
can't
is.
take part of it, you gotta sell.
I'll sell it.
Well, we can't, I'll put it this
You
way.
gotta have your license.
Well, I'll put it this way. If you do it at the town park or town park,
Right.
they can buy it, they can't smoke it.
Not on town property.
Town property.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah, so I would
Stewart's-
allocate areas of, like, not that we have a lot, but
I don't even know where they
industrial,
could do it.
commercial areas in the town, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I spoke to, the building department. I spoke to, back in 2018, we opted in on the cannabis. All right, and so far we have had 0 dispensaries here.
We don't have a cannabis law,
We don't have cannabis.
We've worked on it.
Also, right.
so we can't until we have,
Yeah, 90%.
Community cannabis law for this thing?
no, I think it supersedes it.
Okay. All right, so I spoke to, the building department, and this is what's needed. You need, first of all, the pop-up location. That's the first thing. The number of tents. Is there food going to be there? I'm not quite sure what the food you meant by. All right.
Very hungry.
Well,
Or is it?
Is it gonna be brownie?
CBD, yeah, CBD.
edibles.
Yeah.
Mr. Bones, how do you know so much about all this?
He's taught in high schools and colleges.
They, twice also mass gathering permit. All right, and also the expect, well, 5,000 or more, you need a mass gathering permit.
That's what we have. The town board gets to approve gatherings of 5,000 or more.
And also the expected occupancy number of, beauty porta potties. Things like that, parking. You know, I don't know.
So
So
you're just approving it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's.
No, that's not gonna happen. So in other words, but,
We just want the town board to review and
you have this, I sent all this to you guys. Review this thing here from, Pascal Barnard, who is the Director of Local Government for the Town of New York State Office of Cannabis Management.
Has somebody come though and said that they would like to do this in the town of Hurley?
Yeah.
Or are you just presenting this to the board for education purposes?
Oh, I presented to the board because I got an email from Pascal.
Somebody that wants to do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, not someone, this is the Office of Cannabis Management, which oversees all the dispensaries.
What is their dispensary?
Right, this is the, this is the high person.
So basically, he's asking us if we would agree to it, that he can send people or.
Well, then- Right. Now, according to this letter here, he said that we did it for 1 and 4. I don't recall.
We did.
We did.
We did. It was at the Woodstock's, WDST on 28, and we also received revenue from it.
Yes, we had one.
It was pop-up.
But it never came to the town board though. We never approved it.
I didn't say you did approve it. I just said we got the revenue and that's where it was.
What was it? Was it marijuana? When was this?
Yeah, it was weed, yes.
It's like last year.
It was probably 2024. There was a pop-up on 28. And we did receive the revenue.
That's a good one. It's only one of the
Yeah,
I never went to the board.
It was quick. It was like a couple weekends.
You didn't need to get a permit.
Well, anyway, so, the thing is though that I want you guys to look at this thing. I'd like to get a response back and send it to Pascal.
well, I would say before that, maybe you guys should read consider some of the aspects there, and what Lynn was talking about with some, maybe updating some of our permitting requirements, so that, when some of these additional pop-ups do, stations, contacted them, fill out the application, meet the requirements.
They fall under the five-years.
Well, the first thing is that if we allow it, Matt, if we allow it, they will send us, all the dispensaries of which.
Yeah, but right now the town isn't regulating or permitting these events to occur, so they can.
Okay, so take a look at this thing and.
Go to Greg,
Okay.
that's all you need, Greg.
Okay. I think that's it.
Public comment.
Let's do it. I'll take them, hold on, wait 1 second.
I think that's everything.
Okay, all right. All right, I make a motion to open public comment number 2. Discussion, all in favor? Hello,
Do I have to
go right
stand
ahead,
up?
Wendy.
Do I have to stand up and tell you where I live? I urge the board to hold off on, executing the resolution for the $1,000 grant donation to the Hurley Hysterical, or what not Historical Society, until the employees at the town hall, and I would assume the highway department members would feel the same way. However, I only represent the town hall employees as the shop steward. I really, really encourage you to wait to give any more grants, any donations, especially something that wasn't budgeted for and wasn't expected until the employees receive some sort of compensation. They have been without compensation for quite a while. Nothing was stated about it at all until I brought it to the attention of the supervisor that we were at a standstill. So I ask again that you,
I know. Well, what it was, it was no clear, didn't pass.
Right, I mean, the union put it in them, the town didn't.
No, the union cleared it, didn't pass.
The union declared it, passed our
Correct.
negotiating.
right, but we went almost 3 months. The town employees went almost 3 months without any movement. So now the last contract ended at 12/31/2026 or 2025.
What's
I
happening basically is,
thought that when it was an impasse, we were waiting for a mediator to.
yes, so, we
But that's not on the
contact, so,
town. I mean, not that we haven't done anything,
No,
it's
no,
that
no.
we were waiting for a mediator. We can't do anything.
I understand that.
Okay.
However, I was the one who spoke to both as the shop steward and the town, meaning Mike Bombs, and said, let's come to some sort of understanding, and we are moving toward that. Well, I'm
That's
asking,
not where it comes from
Well,
whoever's running the union.
it didn't come from them, that is the point.
But I'm saying that's.
Yes, I understand
There's
that.
like, that's already preset rules, like you can't just, people just can't say, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, there's rules set up.
And I understand that.
I know, I just want the public to know that, it's not like the town hall said, we're not gonna negotiate. The union's the one that called the impasse, we had nothing to.
Because there was no negotiation going on, but that's besides the point. What I'm asking from the point of the employees, this has been a rumor mill around the town hall that the town board is willing and looking to give money to a non-for-profit organization when their employees are not taken care of yet. That's all I'm asking. Do what you wish with it. And I will tell you from a taxpayer standpoint, how does the Hurley Historical Society help West Hurley? I would like to know that, because if we're going to donate money to one non-for-profit, why are we not donating to every non-for-profit? Again, to reiterate what Debbie said, I think you really need to look into it. Because there are a lot of non-for-profits out there, and I'm not saying anything against the Hurley situation. I'm just saying, I think that it really needs to be reviewed because it is not currently in the budget. That's all. Thank you.
okay, anybody else wish to speak?
Have a quick.
Okay. Why do you have a loud voice? Jamie has a-
Resolution last year to join the Ulster County Housing Starter Initiative, which is a program to make housing more affordable for the residents of our town. And I just want to say you're looking at the first town resident to earn the $112,000 AD grant.
Fantastic.
That's
Anybody else wish to speak? Okay, I make a motion to close public comment number 2. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Who seconded?
Yeah.
all right, so now,
Regarding litigation. The places alternative funds. And they just. Make a matter of is it any litigation?
No.
Nothing we had to. Okay, so it's attorney client, you're just looking for legal advice regarding. Yes.
all right, so, I make a motion to go into an executive session, attorney-client on public officers.
So the two separate sessions. One would be the attorney client session, the other would be the executive session for public officers, and there's two separate matters.
Yes.
So what do you want to do first, the executive session?
Let's do the, attorney-client.
We're gonna go out and come back.
One minute. He's been out to school that he was here at the meeting, and in the meeting, the civics probably, the civics class, can someone please help him? Before you go into executive session.
Lynn will do it.
Okay, I make a motion to go into, attorney-client. Well, you did that, just.
We're gonna do that, after one, why don't you, yeah, I guess you want to just make we're going to attorney client session after you write this gentleman a note.
Okay.
Yes,
That'll be the.
okay,
What's your name?
Damien, make that motion, seconded, AMIA. All in favor?
So we'll do-